Yasmin has supposedly split up several relationships, possibly including marriages, keeps talking about threesomes with Dijon, and is apparently a devil. But then she reveals she's only slept with 2 men. Something's not right. Love Island UK episode 9, and the new bombshell Harrison came back with Tony. I don't know why I'm glad that he came back with Tony, but there's something I like about her. Most of the girls seem really pleased that Tony came back, especially Shakira, and the girls were saying, oh, we should tell the boys that we think Harrison's fit and we should have chats with him. Now, they're playing emotional mind games. When they find out that the boys are also playing emotional mind games, they're not happy. Meanwhile, the boys were saying, I hope he cracks on with the girls, that means we can get away with more. Now, mainly it was Harry because he's an absolute fucking skis bag bastard. But again, still emotional mind games. Harrison pulled Shakira for a chat, and Ben is fucking raging. Now, I don't know if you've seen it, but I seen a video on TikTok where apparently Ben was seeing somebody before he went into the villa, a girl that he'd been seeing for 2 years, and there was a text message saying nobody goes in there to find love. The producers know that nobody's in there to find love. It's about exposure or the things it can do for their career or whatever. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Would I be surprised? No. People in the comments were saying this is the perfect time to put her in as a bombshell. Please. Absolutely, I would love that. I remember one of the best episodes on F-Boy Island, Australia. A guy had a girlfriend and he kept on denying it, and then they brought her in. I was like, that is drama. So anyway, Ben's absolutely fucking raging, and then when he asked Shakira how it went, she said, oh, we just had a nice chat. Now this is what the girls were talking about. Don't give the boys too much information, that's what they do with us. And Ben was raging and he's like, what do you mean, what do you mean? And she says, oh, you find this attractive, like you like winding me up. I totally agree. He's so toxic as fuck, but I actually do think he's jealous as well. I don't think he's just trying to wind her up. When he was first coupled up with Shakira, the girls actually thought he didn't like her because he was acting nasty towards her, and he was saying, oh, it's a love-hate relationship. And then when he was paired up with Tony, he says, oh, you knocked her confidence, she needed that. That is such fucking weird behaviour. Harrison was saying, oh, I'm really impressed, I thought you were like totally closed off. And Shakira says, oh, we got on well, but like it doesn't stimulate my brain because I'm a smart girl. I was surprised by that. A lot of people can hardly even understand what he's saying. I can understand what he's saying, but when I watch this with my partner, I literally have to translate everything. Ben said, oh, that was a really long conversation, that's a longer conversation we've ever had. That should be sending off the signals. If you've been in there for 2 weeks and she spoke to him more than she spoke to Ben, it's a sign. Time to move on. Yasmin and Tony were talking to Dijon about threesomes again, and she's like, what turns you on, and blah, 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 right? And to be honest, I think that this is a completely natural, normal conversation for young people to be having on a holiday. At the pool, just chilling out, having a chat. They're single. And I know that he's paired up with Meg, but she's not his girlfriend, and I don't think that this conversation is weird. But what I do find interesting is that Yasmin is making out as if she's this freak in the bedroom. Now, don't get me wrong, you can go with one person your whole life and be a freak in the bedroom. But she's talking about threesomes as if, like, she does it every other weekend, and she splits up marriages and couples every other week. And then she turns around to the boys and says she's only slept with 2 men. So you're trying to tell me that she's had threesomes with the only 2 men that she's ever slept with? It doesn't make sense. It's like when you have a wee teenage boy in first year and he's like, oh, I did this, I did that, and he's not done shit. And he's just trying to impress people with his chat. And as I said a couple of days ago, I seen another girl talking about Love Island and talking about clip farming. And they says that that's what they thought Meg was doing. This is 100% what she's doing. She's coming out with all this shit because she wants to get the clips, and it's working. But now that we know she's only slept with 2 men, she's talking absolute shit. I know that Dijon's coupled up with Meg, and a lot of people will be thinking, oh, I shouldn't be talking like that to other girls. But they're not even a couple. They're not closed off. They're not going out. They're literally just having a conversation. People have conversations like that all the time, even when they're in relationships. I think it's different because Yasmin's like, oh, do you want to have a threesome with us? But if it was just general chit-chat, like, oh, what you into, blah, 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 then it wouldn't be as bad. Meg walked out, seen the 3 of them talking, and she was fucking raging. But as Tommy said, these conversations are going to happen outside the villa. You know what it's like, they're going to go out to whatever club they go to, they're going to go out to tape, and people are going to go, oh, there's that guy or lassie for Love Island, and they're going to try and sleep with them just because they've been on the telly. Just so that they can come on TikTok and say, oh, I had sex with this person for Love Island. Because people do stupid shit like that. Meg is literally acting as if her and Dijon are in a long-term relationship and they're about to get engaged. And then when she pulled them all for a chat and she's like, oh, I think it's really disrespectful that you're sitting having these chats. Aye, okay, it is a bit disrespectful, but at the end of the day, they're not even going out. You can't really sit and say, I don't want you to talk about this. Do you know what I mean? It'd be different if she says, I don't want you to talk about our relationship with them, or I don't want you to tell people what I've told you. But other than that, you can't really say, oh, you shouldn't be speaking to them about this, especially when they're not even closed off. Tommy told Megan what the boys said about them wanting Harrison to crack on with the girls so that they can get away with more. And then Megan told the girls, and they're like, oh, they're playing games, it's all a laugh. But at the start, the girls did say, oh, we should flirt with Harrison or say that he's hot, and then not tell the guys what the chats were about, also playing games. Aye, okay, the boys are taking it a step further. But still. Yasmin and Harry went for a chat on the terrace, and he is a fucking skis bag. He doesn't have one redeeming quality. I can't stand him. Watching them flirt with each other, like they weren't doing too much, but it was just weird to watch. And she's like, oh, I'm a devil, but at least I'm honest about it. How much a devil can she be? She slept with 2 people. Are you trying to tell me that she's split up several relationships and marriages by not sleeping with somebody? It makes no sense to me. And realistically, it's one thing to say, I've had threesomes, I've went with groups of people, I've slept with X amount of people in the past, right? And you're like, that, alright, that's in the past, fine, now you're looking for a long-term relationship. But she's in there literally saying, oh, I split up relationships and, oh, I'm a devil. Why would you want to be in a long-term relationship with somebody who's openly saying, this is what I'm like, and I'm still like this, and she's got no intentions of changing? That's not somebody looking for love. Let's be honest, Harry's not in there looking for love either. He's just in there thinking it's all a big fucking game. It was time for another low-budget question game, not like Love Island USA. They really know how to play the games. Dijon was asked to pick the girl that he fancied the most other than his partner, and he picked Yasmin. Okay, fair enough, he was being honest. He was asked to shake the hand of the person who he wouldn't miss if they left, and he shook Harrison's hand, and Harrison was like, what's the reason? And I think that Dijon was annoyed that Meg kissed Harrison, but at the same time he doesn't know him. Probably anybody would have shook Harrison's hand, he's been in there for like 5 seconds. Helena had to kiss the feet of the boy she thought would run away for a relationship, and she kissed Dijon's feet. Not Harry's. Are you fucking kidding me? She is blind. She's so fucking blind that it's getting to the point that it's embarrassing now. She literally sat and watched them have a conversation with the boys, saying that he didn't know if she was in for a long-term relationship because she'd had a threesome when he's had a fucking gangbang. She sat and watched them on a date with another girl, talking about Shakira and how they've got unfinished business. She watched them go up onto the terrace with Yasmin and have a really long chat, not even questioning him. And now she's kissing Dijon's feet. Also keep in mind that when she went to the hideaway with him, he was lying in bed with Shakira, cuddling her. And he just got up and toddled off into the hideaway without even saying see the Mora. What the fuck? She probably regretted her decision straight away when Yasmin was asked to kiss the boy that she could talk to all day, and she kissed Harry and says, oh, we had a really great conversation. And while I very rarely agree with anything Meg says and I think she takes things too far, I did agree with her in the game when she says to Yasmin, how can you be happy in your couple if you've been kissing other boys and you haven't even kissed your partner? And when Shay was asked who he thought was the fakest in the villa, he shook Yasmin's hand and says, I think she only came on to me to stay in the villa. 100%. She's not interested in him. She's only going to be interested in a guy who's with somebody else because she's trying to come across as this devil who's only slept with 2 guys. Anyway, let me know what you think of the whole Yasmin and Meg situation. Do you think she's got a right to tell him what he can talk about? Do you think Yasmin is actually a devil? Do you think she's ever split up a relationship in her life? To be completely honest with you, I think she's just a fucking narcissist. I think she's blatantly lying for attention, but I do think she's got a right to talk about whatever she wants. But I'll see you again tonight.